Thank you, Brianna. And thanks to the March Stream for this community service broadcast platform benefiting communities in the Bay Area worldwide. I'm Gail Schickley. Welcome to Solo Arts Heal. Today we feature artist, storyteller, and dancer Lynne Jassem, who is with us standing by. She has recorded a special excerpt for us from her latest play, Being Richard Green, which she showcased with me in January at the Association of Performing Arts Professionals New York City Annual Performing Arts Conference. Solo Arts Heal began at the Association of Performing Arts Professionals Conference by bringing together artists whose stories have themes of health and healing. And since April 2020, the March Stream has broadcast Solo Arts Heal shows born from the art of storytelling and performance at the intersection of education and advocacy about health and healing. Shows that embrace the healing power of the arts over a wide range of mental, emotional, and physical challenges, and with talkbacks that offer insights and resources for our audiences. This has grown to include issues of social and environmental justice. And with that, the recognition of how we treat one another and how we treat our planet is all connected. Both theatrical performance and a discussion about LGBTQ and more are before us tonight. We begin with an excerpt of Lynne Jassem's show, Being Richard Green, after which Lynne will join us. Let me tell you about this amazing artist. Lynne is a native New Yorker who broke into show business at the age of 10 on the Perry Como TV show, later performing on the famous Borscht Belt circuit and TV soap operas. As an adult, she played the White House, Boston Pops, and both Kennedy and Lincoln Center with the Claude Kipnis Mime Theater, later forming her own company, Manhattan Mime Theater. Lynne was one of the 5 founding members of the American Tap Dance Orchestra, dancing with Gregory Hines and Tommy Tune. She toured her solo shows Billy and Rhythm Anonymous across the US and Europe. She won Best of Fringe in San Francisco, Best Storyteller in San Diego, played to rave 5-star reviews in Edinburgh, and her show Como to Homo. Her next show, Tap Dancing My Way to the Nut House, premiered at the Hollywood Fringe 2019, and now she's proud and happy to introduce you to Being Richard Green. So now get ready for a wonderful 20-minute performance, specially recorded for Solo Arts Heal, about 21 minutes. Brianna, if you play the excerpt, Being Richard Green. See you in 20.
It's 1949, and I'm 3. We have recently moved to Queens. Queens, where everybody is welcome, provided you are white, heterosexual, gender-specific, and speak only English. Did I mention white? Like I said, I'm 3, and me and Mommy are walking down Main Street like we usually do, and and that's when I see her. Oh, I've seen her before. She's tall and graceful as she makes her way through the crowds. One finger holds a jacket which swirls around her head and lands easily on her broad shoulder. Pants with a fly in the front, and a cigarette dangles dangerously from her lower lip. Oh, Mommy, Honey, did you see that lady? She's all dressed up like a man. And that's what I want to be when I grow up. Mommy, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just can't breathe. Me neither. Well, time marches on, but my dream stays the same. I see myself as a tall, handsome, well-dressed guy. No, I know you don't see me that way, but that is who I am, really, deep down. And on Sundays, when we go to Grandma's, I'm sporting my daddy's black sharkskin jacket. And I have my very own necktie, which I bought at Sears Roebuck. I'm ready to show off. My daddy thinks my gender confusion is really cute. Hey, Daddy, look. Well, honey, you are looking really good. Just let me fix that tie for you. There you go. Perfect. Thanks, Daddy. When we get to Grandma's, I see that oh so glamorous, peroxided blonde, red lipstick, red fingernails, scotch swirling, cigarette smoking. My Aunt Tilly. Oh, I've always had a crush on her. I swagger over. Say, Tilly, you looking mighty good today. Excuse me? It's Aunt Tilly to you, little girl. Oh, Muriel, why do you let her dress like a boy? She's beginning to look like a freak. I'm not a freak, but I am starting to feel like I'm becoming one. Hey, remember, folks, this is 65 years before LGBTQ. Way back then, before there was even an L, it was, hey, faggot, did you see a faggot? And transgender people, they weren't even invented yet. It's 1952, and I am 5 1/2. Every weekend in the summer, my entire family would go to Jones Beach. Oh, Jones Beach, it was the most wonderful place on earth. And when we got there, my mom would go off to the ladies, and my daddy would take me to the men's locker room. When we got there, he would go to change, and I took that opportunity to look around the men's lockers and see what I could see. You see, I have to see as many penises as I can, because I'm going to have one someday. Too big. Oh, that's a perfect one. That's a perfect penis. Just right. And that's the way it was. Me and my daddy every Sunday, alone in those stinky, wet wonderful locker rooms. I'll never forget those times. They are always with me, and I'll never forget my dad. I think about him every day until the time comes. I don't know, maybe I was about 7. Hey, honey, come on over here. I want to talk to you. Let's get ourselves settled here. Come on, little one. Oh, you're getting heavy, baby. You know, I got to talk to you about the locker rooms. I don't think you can go with Daddy anymore, honey. Why not, Daddy? Well, I think you're getting a little old to pretend you're a boy. Oh, I'm not pretending. I am a boy. Okay, no hitting, all right? But listen, honey, just don't wear those yellow boy swim trunks anymore, okay? I gotta. All right, you know, I think you need to talk to your mom. Now, go on. I felt like someone shot an arrow through my heart. Oh, I could see where all this was going, yeah. Yeah, first no boys swim trunks, and then the next thing, I'll never, ever get a penis. Well, now I'm about 11, but I'm keeping my dream to myself. Now, I don't think the world is ready for me, but I do continue to wear my boy's hat and tie. So one day I'm in the backyard, and I'm looking at all. Hey, girlie. Hi. It's not Halloween. Oh, I know. You're trying to look like a boy. No. Give me your toy. Come on. Give it to me. And that hat. That's a boy's hat. For a boy like me, not you. Ooh. What'd you do that for? Hey. Hey, come on. Let's see you fight. Come on, stand still, would ya? Ow! 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 That really hurt. That's what happens to bullies. That was my first glimpse of hatred. And why did they hate me? What did I do? I don't know, but I never wear that hat and tie again. It's the 60s. What could be wrong? Me? I'm a junior in Parsons Junior High. And today I'm alone and I'm in the bathroom. I'm checking myself out in the mirror. I've started using this green sticky stuff that my brother uses to comb his hair back. All right, looking. Yeah, you are a good-looking guy. Woohoo! But I'm not as good-looking as Richard Green. Oh, Richard Green is the most popular boy in the 8th grade. Yeah, he's got brown curly hair and big blue eyes, and he's got all the girls flocking over him. Wait a second now. I have brown curly hair and big blue eyes, but I'm not getting any flocking. And then it comes to me in a flash. I will pretend to be Richard Green. We're gonna see about this. Oh, okay. Hello, may I speak to Joyce, please? This is she, and to whom am I speaking? Well, Joyce, this is Richard Green. Richard? Oh, really? Is it really you? Oh, hi, Richard. Well, hey, Joyce. You know, I've been thinking about going to the movies, and I wondered if you wanted to come with me. Really? Oh, I'm so excited. Wait a second, please. I have to check my schedule. I don't have a schedule. Richard, I found a slot just for you. Okay, now. So, I've called the 3 girls, right? Joy. Oh, yes. Carol. Yeah, I'll be there. And Nancy. Oh. Marie. That means okay. I have 3 dates for the movies. That's a trifecta of broads. Damn, I was so popular as Richard Green. Even Richard Green would be jealous. I was Richard Green. Oh, and I loved it. Until movie day. And there's only 2 words that can describe how that went. Oy vey. You see, I was prepared for a really romantic movie, but it turned into a horror flick, and I was the accidental star. What with 3 pissed off girls, all angry and disappointed that I was not, in fact, Richard Green. Just still me. But now, I have 3 sets of adolescent teeth marks. Some with rubber bands and some with braces, indented in my arm. Oh, what am I gonna do to bring up the real Richard Green? And stop hiding in public. Oh, this was all making me very, very, very anxious. Very anxious. I started to drink. Every night I drank myself under the table. And then the blackouts. Oh boy. One night, after a particularly drunken blackout, rap out, I came to, crawling, nervously, sweating, right up to the AA door. Hello, my name's Lynne. Oh, they really did welcome me. They gave me chocolate. Oh, that's good. And coffee. So I decided to stay. But after 10 long years of sitting in the basement of the church, and that's a lot of church for a Jew, I came to see that God was doing for me what I could never do for myself, taking me to a place of acceptance. Yeah. San Francisco, open your golden gate. San Francisco, huh? You know, for 3 years, I got up every Friday and got ready to go. No matter how tired I was, I jumped in my car and drove over the Golden Gate Bridge to the East Bay, where there was a lesbian country western dance. What could I do? What could I do? I mean, I was a Jewish New Yorker filter fish out of water. I was just looking for some community, maybe even a date. I was very lonely, gefilte. Oh, and the worst part was that all the butches were after me, none of the femmes. I mean, I think I am apparently kind of butch, but maybe more butch light. Too damn short and cute. But I can fix that. I go home and I take out all my femwear and I throw it away out the window. Come on, get it. And then I rush over to Macy's department store. I get myself a double-breasted pinstripe suit. $40. Size 12 children's department. I have all my hair cut off, and I get some nice men's loafers with 2-inch heels. And guess what? I found someone to marry me. It's amazing what 2-inch heels can do. And now, you know, while I've been doing this, I've been thinking actually my whole life, that if I was born today in this time, I would become a boy immediately. But my life took place in the 50s, and there was no choice for me. Choice. Now, there's a million choices. You can do whatever you want. They, them, zazer, poly, gender, A, gender, B, gender, flex, soft and fluid, non-binary, omnisexual. So you see, folks, if I had transitioned today, I would probably be a short, fat, bald Jewish man. Oh, this is much better.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you, Lynn. Please join us. Lynne Jassem. Fantastic. Hello. Good evening. I just love that there's so many just amazing gems in your piece. And
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just love all the tapping, the way you fill in all the little, you know, areas with tapping for dialing the phone and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just come to me as I've been doing it, you know, and the segues. The tapping works really good as a segue, and I don't do like an hour of tapping, so I'm able to get through the whole thing.
Wonderful. I realize I should have. There's a lot to talk about here, but I just wanted to talk about the show itself and how you put it together. How long did it take you to put the show together? Is this a particular show that you've been wanting to do for a long time? Because you had From Como to Homo.
I seem to have a similar theme, because Como to Homo was a lot about my my life as a child star on the Perry Como show, but I always inside was thinking, hey, I'm a boy. You know, you could put the banana curls on me, but underneath, when I go home, I put my hair up in a ponytail and I play with the boys. So I had a dual thing going on there for a long time. So it has been kind of a theme of mine. And even in my next show, Tapping to the Nut House, it was about going crazy, basically, but there was still a little bit of this boy stuff happening. And this one, I just came and said, just do it. And I'm really glad I did.
So let me ask you about Tapping to the Nut House. Going crazy, just dealing with the issues, or what specifically?
Well, I got very sick. I was in show business as a kid, and I was on all these television things, and I developed bleeding ulcerative colitis, which was very devastating. I was only about 11, and they just took me out of everything and put me in the bed. And I was devastated that I couldn't be in show business anymore. And by the time I was 15, I just stopped. And I started like just staying in bed all day. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to work. I saw my psychiatrist, and she said, you know what? I'm putting you in Mount Sinai. And I was like, what's Mount Sinai? And it was a very, very good experience for me. I was there about 3 months. And I think just separating from my family, from everything, and having therapy and talking to other people, really, it brought me up to a new life. And that was a very hard show to do, because there were so many feelings. You know, I was sitting around going, oh. And I think it brought up a lot of feelings in the audience as well. So people either loved it or they hated it. Because they, oh, I did that. I've been doing that. And then they start to worry about themselves.
When
But
did that show come out, Lynn?
pardon me?
What year was that show when that came
Oh,
out?
I did it in 2019.
That's what I thought. Good.
And then COVID hit, and I did streaming, you know, for Los Angeles Women's Theater Development. We streamed it, and then I started writing this thing. It all started, actually, the long show is where, at the last part of the show is where I meet my love. And of course, she's British and very lady. You have met her, Gail. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Lovely.
And
You've been married now for how long?
2 years we've been together.
Wonderful.
Yeah. She it just flowed. I wrote this stuff and the jokes and everything. It was just so funny. And I was in heaven. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to get a director. So I got this director, Wendy Hammer, who I think is my sister in all our past lives. And I wrote most of and she would like do a dramaturge that where she looks at it and says, this is good, this is not so good. But I got it. And I have honed it, you know, I mean, because there's nothing like doing it to make it work better, to edit it. Because then you see where the laughs aren't, are people crying, what's happening. So I you know, got it on the road. And now have a new manager, and I'm hoping he can book me because I gotta keep going.
Right. Well, good for you. Good for you. You have an amazing career. I mean, when you talk about from Perry Como, whom I loved as a
Oh yeah.
young person, and the Borscht Belt circuit. Tell me what you did with the
Oh.
Borscht Belt circuit.
That was wild because there was this guy named Rapp was his last name, and he was a very well-known agent. And I danced in this dance and sang in this dancing school, the Charlie Lowe's School of Dance. And he did a lot of shows in the Borscht Belt. And anyway, this Mr. Rapp saw me do a show, and he was like, that kid's gonna be a star, you know.
Yeah, I think of Jackie Mason in those kind of solo
Right.
concerts, right?
So excuse me. And that's when I first started getting sick. So even though it was all set up, I wasn't able to do it. And that broke my heart.
Oh, I'll bet.
But
But you
then
played the White House, Boston Pops. You talked about, you started
that,
your own, the
oh,
Manhattan Mime Theater.
well, I went off to college, to study to study philosophy, because I wanted to know, why was I getting sick and what's happening in the world. That's, is there a dragon in the pencil sharpener? Because if he is, he better get out of there. But I started hanging out with the theater department. And I was right back, in theater mode and tap dancing. And I just moved to New York, back to New York, and I auditioned for the Kipnis Mime Theater. And Herzog, I think, was managing that company at the time. So we got really, really great shows. And I got in. And then after 3 years, I would be sitting in the first row, standing in the wings and seeing the first row. And if I heard the music one more time, I thought, yeah. So I left. And I was I was auditioning for Broadway and all that stuff at that point. But the worst thing that happened to me is I was auditioning for Tommy Tune for Best Little Whorehouse, and my leotard fell off.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And everybody said, use it, use it. And I was like, I got nothing here to use. But the American Tap Dance Orchestra was my next big event.
But you ended up working with Tommy Tune, did you?
Yes, I actually a couple of times, because we did a PBS special with Gregory and with Tommy Tune. And we also did a special in Florida. There's this big pink building, and it was an homage to Michael Bennett, who had passed away. And there are a lot of stars in that. And after that, I did industrials. I mean, I'm old, so I've done a lot.
Mhm.
But I did about 40 of those, and all the mime came in very handy to do that kind of work. And then I was with the Tap Orchestra and doing artisan residencies all around. And I thought, I'm going to do a solo show. It was so hard to get somebody to dance with me that I really, like, my choices were guided by that. And I liked doing it because I found that the audience was my partner in the show,
Mhm.
rather than having someone on stage with me. And the most amazing feeling, when this feeling of love and understanding comes from them and comes back out from you and into the audience, and it's a wave. And it's one of the most special feelings I have ever had.
That's lovely. There's nothing like being in the theater, and it's interesting to talk about that in light of the LGBTQ issues that we see happening today, because that would have been a fairly safe place to be as an environment, as a gay person, and you had a life that was denied for so long, and yet you felt so strongly at a young age what your identity was. You were very clear about your identity at a very early age, which isn't uncommon for gay people. I understand. We were talking of this earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew when I was very young, but being in the theater and dancing, I had to really be secret. Even after I came out when I was about 23, I think. And all these auditions, it was fine for the men. It wasn't so cool for the women, because they always expect a woman back then to have like a crew cut and a tie, and the whole thing. The very butch look was understandable to people because they were imitating men. But I think a very feminine woman was, I don't get it. People still say that today. I don't understand, And it's not about how you look. It's what's
Who
going
you
on
are.
inside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such important conversation because, I was just reading a survey that it was Quinnipiac University's survey finding that 33% of prejudice is a very serious problem. 25% it's somewhat serious, but 18% of Americans say prejudice against LGBTQ people is not at all a problem. 20% say it's not so serious an issue. But 491 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced this year alone in state legislatures across the country, according to the ACLU.
Yeah. And it's, I want to show my map, if I may. You think
Oh, please, let's see your map. We may talk about the.
Okay, I hope you can see this, people. This is March.
And the 2023.
Yes.
Let's see, what does it say on the bottom there?
It says March anti-trans legislative risk map.
Okay.
Okay, and the deep red is worst active anti-trans laws. And then it gets a little better, like high risk within 2 years, moderate risk, but this is what it looked like in March.
So the most troubling states, it looks like legislatively, is Florida in the South, or across the South, Texas and Florida.
Texas. I mean, I don't know what this little guy's doing up here, Utah. Surrounded by more liberal states, but then when we get to May, this is what it looks like. I couldn't quite fit.
Hold it back a little farther so we can see the whole map. There you go.
So you can see that Florida now has gone to completely black. And that is, of course, I can't read it because they couldn't say, but do not, it says. So do not go to Florida. I think that's what it's saying.
Well, I know that Florida governor, I'm sorry?
Oh, DeSantis. Are you talking about?
The Governor Ron DeSantis, along with Twitter chief Elon Musk, took aim at the Biden administration this week when the White House shared a video on social media celebrating the LGBTQ community and saying our kids that are a part of it, and they objected to talk about kids. And what are they worried that? What is the worry there, you think?
Well, I think that because kids at 7, 8, even younger are starting to say, I am not a girl, I'm a boy. And they don't feel like kids are old enough to know even what that means. They haven't even been through puberty. And there's so many things going on, like with the blockers that they give children so that they won't go into puberty.
Oh, sure.
And it's very divided. I mean, I myself, I love my people who are transgendered, and I love my friend who's a mother of the sweetest little trans boy, who's now 12. And I just have to say this one, I saw her show, and then they had a talk afterward. And I went up to him and I said, I'm 76. You think I'm too old to transition? And he said, oh, no, just have a big group, a big support group of people who love you around you.
It's always a
good idea. Oh, my God, this kid is too much.
Have you thought about that for yourself?
Oh, not now. No. And what I say at the end of my show is probably I would be a short, fat, bald Jewish man.
I love that.
And I know when I was in San Francisco and lived there, I saw a lot of people who transitioned. And, I thought they looked frankly better as women, but that's a very superficial opinion. And, but these blockers, they say that it can cause osteoporosis. There's all kinds of things against it. And that if you stop a child from going into puberty, they're never going to fully develop in the right way. Now, we don't know what's true.
Now, so you're saying if somebody that says that they're gay and it is suppressed throughout puberty, that is a bad thing? Is this
Well, if
understandable?
transgender,
For transgender?
if they want to be transgender, they can,
Sure, of
let's say,
course.
a girl, as she starts to develop breasts, would be given these blockers, and it would stop the puberty,
Right.
from going on, so she wouldn't ever be identified as a girl in that way. But the thing is that if, now this is I don't know what's real. I don't think anybody knows what's real right now. It's so murky, all of it, but that if you stop the blockers, the kid or the person will just go back to where they were and start puberty.
Mm.
So nothing would be lost, and they call them gender affirming blockers.
Mhm.
So I have a very good friend who has the son, and I have a neighbor who lives down here who is tremendously anti-trans, and I feel like the tennis ball.
Mm.
Because we just don't have enough information on so many things.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
the fear, I think we were talking about it a little earlier, and it's always the gender that makes the biggest problem for people. It's such a it's their ground, it's their root. That's what they're born into. And this is a new world. And it's scary, I think, because we don't, we're still examining things and finding out. And I think people have so much more freedom now to say, I want to be a boy, or I want to be a girl.
Yeah, you say something in your show about that it's kind of open, there's so many options. What do you say that there's
Oh, that the choices, I didn't have the
yeah,
choice.
there's so many choices. Yeah, you can be whatever you want.
Yeah, or there's so many strange choices too.
Yeah.
Very strange things, and they all have
Well,
names.
yeah, and I don't know that there, it seems like there's a lot of choices, but look at the maps you just held up.
Right,
Those choices are being suppressed. And
right.
what are we going to do about that? I mean, because
I don't know.
prejudice against a segment of the population, and this is happening
Growing.
in other sectors as well, but those identifying as LGBTQ is serious. And
Yeah,
this seems to be, this comes as a surprise to some of us, when at a time when you think we maybe had matured beyond such discriminations.
I know. It's surprising. It's
So I
also
guess
the
fear,
anti-Semitism too is surprising. I'm like,
anti-Semitism
I
is
don't want to
on.
leave the house.
Yeah, oh dear.
But but there's also a lot of groups that are designed to help people, because
Tell
they,
us about some of them. I think you had given some links for
yes,
posted, and I'll also look in the chat
Rihanna, I think, has those links.
messages.
But the ACLU, famous ACLU, is there to help. And Human Rights Campaign, Lambda Legal supplies legal aid and help. The Trevor Project, which I'm thinking of volunteering for, because that's for teenage kids, and I can relate to them. So, and I would love to be a part of that somehow. And this is the Transforming Families. So they work with the whole family. Families meet other families, and that's really, I think, a wonderful thing.
Yeah, to have community, you need it, both sides,
Yeah.
because it is hard for some families to accept it. Although I hopefully, again, that's better now. But I'm surprised when I see such things that's happened in Massachusetts at the high school, or I think it was a middle school actually, when they were observing Gay Pride Day, and the students themselves caused a big ruckus. And
Well, I think it might, I think it's a threat to people
mhm.
because you get to see yourself in this very two-dimensional way, and then all of a sudden there's something else thrown at you, and it's like you start maybe, every time I become friends with somebody, a woman, I know a straight woman, eventually down the road, they're going to say something to me like, I might be, it makes you question yourself
Mhm.
and wonder about yourself and is that better or is that worse? Or so it's very threatening. But I don't know what we're going to do about it, Gail. It's scary.
Yes, it is scary. What were some other things when I see about what's happening in Florida and
Anti-immigration, anti-trans, anti-Black. That's Florida.
is
They're
that why the map is black? It looked pretty black at that second viewing of the map.
But they don't want any more Black. No, yeah, it does look black, but that means do not go to Florida. That like is they only have a Black in there,
And
but
beautiful Florida, but yeah, it's very things are so little upside down, it seems, there at the moment. Here's a bunch. So all of those have been posted in the chat. Let me check also. I think Brianna will check if there's any questions or comments in the YouTube room. And so I want to take a moment to remind people about the tip jar. Because we can always use your support at the Marsh Theater, still doing live stream as well as live performance now at the theaters both in Berkeley and San Francisco. Your support is much, much appreciated. And we are happy to give you these resources that on the topics that we cover, like today, the LGBTQ, the Trevor Project, and the rights, the ACLU, of course, is always a good place. As well as looking up Lynne's shows, Being Richard Green and others. I have some comments here. Let's see. Somebody visiting you. Hi, Lynne. It's Wandra Lee. Love, love, love seeing you perform. How does Richard present today?
I'm afraid Richard is taking a very long nap. When I did live in San Francisco, I was there over 20 years, and I really let Richard come out. I cut my hair really short. I did I'm so happy I did that. And that is how I met my wife at a women's dance, and I was in my little suit, my hair. And I moved to LA, and this is what happened.
Well, good. You can be the real you in every way,
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Ellen says, love the show, great writing, production, fabulously entertaining and creative. Wondering how much of your presentation was fact and how much was fiction.
Well, there is some poetic license, but it's pretty much, I take sequentially a lot of things that happen, choose which is most significant. And I kind of, do my magic around whatever it is. So it's kind of fictionalized truth, but most of it is from my life.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And when did you first think of mixing storytelling with tap?
Well, I when I was in the tap orchestra, it was really intense tap, 10-part overlay. And I thought, I gotta talk, I gotta speak, I had to talk to people. It wasn't enough for me to just tap dance. I couldn't tell a story, like Brenda Buffalino, who was my mentor, could tell a story. I couldn't, I had to talk. So I think with Como to Homo was the first time that I did a solo show. Before that, I had a show with 4 people, and I had a little company, and we all tapped and talked and created theater with tap.
Mhm,
It was
mhm.
fun. And that was we did that in the East Bay at can't think of the theater. But it
On the
was,
east,
they gave grants. They gave me a grant to do it. And I was thrilled.
great, at the Berkeley Rep or at the Freight
No,
Salvage or
it was
anyway.
in Emeryville, I think.
Oh, very good.
A very nice, really beautiful theater.
Yeah, lovely. Let's see, Barbara Bernelli says, your use of mime was incredible. How difficult was to do this without an audience?
You
Because
know,
you did that special performance and you were doing it
yes.
to no audience and it was well done.
Well, thank you. I was afraid of that. I was afraid because, like I said, you feed off each other and it's wonderful and you hear the laughs and you go, but you know what, Barbara? I didn't feel hampered. I was into it. And it didn't bother me that there wasn't laughs or anything because I knew the lighting guy, I knew the video guy, and I just did it for them.
That's great. I bet they loved it. Let's see. Hey, Lynn, Joy and I are here. You are so talented and courageous. Oh, very good.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure we didn't miss any other comments. And if
I saw Faye Hauser in there.
Hey Hauser, I love the interaction, yes, with the screen bullies. How did you come up with that? Tell us about that. That's a beautiful segment.
That's the one you love, Gail.
Yeah.
Um, well, this idea of the green screen and working with it and playing with it, my director in New York, Peter Michael Marino,
Oh,
did,
wonderful.
you know him?
I through the periphery. I've never directly met him, but he's around everywhere and I know
Everywhere.
people.
He's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Better.
He's so talented, and just energy personified. And I saw him talk about the green screen and, you could put a bar, just like you were telling me you did, with Eleanor Roosevelt. And Gail had set up with her screen. Do you want to tell it, Gail?
Oh, well, when I went to the Eleanor Roosevelt house, I took pictures. And so I had a picture of her living room and would use it as my green screen as my background sometimes. And who would know? Who would know? It's just a
Yeah,
living room, but but I knew when I was sitting in Eleanor Roosevelt's living room.
just keep Franklin out.
Yeah.
I wanted to personify what I actually did get beaten up by two boys when I was little. And they pulled me off my bicycle and made fun of me. And it was a kind of turning point for me. And I think I wanted to recreate that. So I won.
Wonderful. So it was a turning point in that. Was that the first time you had been assaulted in a way? I mean, because the boys
In
do,
that way, yeah.
and you fought back.
Yeah. And being made fun of. I didn't think there was anything funny about wearing a tie. I love to dress like that.
Sure.
And I couldn't believe this was happening. And then as I got older, of course, because I came out, I guess, in 1970. And as I got older, I encountered more and more and more. And I lived in New York and it was tough. And I thought, I was going to get beaten up. And I did get beaten up once by an old guy. And it was all very traumatizing. It wasn't easy. And I always had a very feminine lover. And men would say things to her on the street. I always say I had the same girlfriend with different hair.
We like the same kinds of people, maybe.
Yes. And there were hard times. But that's who I was. I mean, actually, I lived in San Francisco. I went to state and was getting my master's in philosophy. And then I went back to New York and I said, I'm going to be straight. So I bought this hat, this kind of straight hat and this thing and put the makeup on. And this guy asked me out. Now, this guy, he was played the piano for a show, and he had like an eye that was oozing all kinds of stuff. It was, that put me right back in the closet. I thought, look who I picked to go out with,
One-eyed.
Obviously, I'm a lesbian.
Oh, well. Well, Lynn, it's just been a pleasure. The time always goes by so fast. I think we've given some good resources. Let's see. Have to leave. Oh, somebody's leaving. Yeah, I love the green screen. That was just a wonderful, and you have just some beautiful moments in that. I was very happy and proud to be able to produce that show in New York when we were there, and first time live since the pandemic. So that was a real treat.
Oh, wonderful.
And we had better lighting than I have tonight. I had a light go out.
You look gorgeous.
Oh,
you look really pretty tonight.
Oh, well, thank you, as do you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So is there any last parting comments you'd like to make besides where can we see the show?
That's the question. Well, I just got a new manager, so I'm hoping that I'd like to be in colleges, and I also teach workshops in mime and tap dancing, and I do historical lectures of both
So
forms.
people can go to your website to be able to get in touch with you.
Yes.
For these things.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
And I just want to say one more thing. After Gail had liked so much the green screen, I got this whole idea for an end of the show piece with, this kind of butch character sitting in the womb going, or in this closet, it's so dark in here, it's getting chilly. Can I ever come out? And then there would be a feminine one who would say, you're complaining, I've been here for centuries. And then they say, well, should we fight it out? No, let's dance it out. And they start doing a dance, and then I come in and the three of us do a dance. I don't know what yet, but that's how I would probably end the show.
Ah, lovely.
Don't
The creative
anybody
process.
steal
Here
it.
we are, right, burning it right as we speak. Well, Lynn, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I'd like to very special thank you to you for your fine work. And everyone can learn more about Lynn. It's posted in the chat to be able to go to her website. Of course,
okay.
Lynne Jassem, you'll be able to find it, or Being Richard Green. A lot of times we can find you just directly under your show titles. So
right. That's my I have different websites for each show I did.
Wonderful.
I need a web designer.
Yeah. Well, all things will happen. This is the year for it to happen. In the meantime, I do want to also remind people, just be kind to one another and allow people to be who they are. And we don't want to get into fights and arguments with people over LGBTQ or other issues. We do want to listen to people, but there has to be ways that we can be ready with responses on some of these issues, because we can't stand to allow these injustices to go on. We must have social justice in the world if we're going to move forward and survive. So
good, very good. Well said, Gail.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So everyone, look for the next Solo Heart Seal show, June 28th, hosted by Rick Davis with ANCAN, and now in their third year. And next month, we're featuring Andy Joyce in Rhythm and Autism. I'm much looking forward to the show that addresses autism on July 12th, based out of Portland. So you can look for more Solo Art Seal shows Wednesday nights on the Marsh Stream. And thanks again to Lynne Jassem and our Marsh Stream producer, Brianna Caver, artistic director, Stephanie Weisman, and the Marsh marketing team. What would we do without you? And to our Zoom and YouTube audiences, above all, thanks so much for joining us. We're all in this.